Welcome to Curry TV. So on this episode, I'm going to be showing how I make a snack for my kids. It's called Unniappam, small balls. So let's take a look at all the ingredients that we'll be using for this recipe. This is chopped up coconut, and I have dried ginger. This is cardamom without the shell, and I have black sesame seeds here. And also using 2 cups of long grain rice along with some salt to taste, and we'll be using 1 ripe banana. Now in Indian tradition, they have smaller versions. There's multiple varieties of bananas available in India. But we're just going to go with 1 old plain dole banana that we can get here. So the next thing I want to talk about is jaggery. It's brown sugar. This has more of a color and texture different from the brown sugar that we get. So if you have access to getting a jaggery such as this, do try that. So the first thing, let's wash our rice thoroughly until the water becomes clear. So the first thing that we need is, I just drained out the excess water that we don't need. Take a saucepan. We need half cup of water. Along with 5 cubes of these jaggery. They will melt really fast. So the jaggery does come in different color, the white, this color, and a dark brown. Now this was the only thing accessible in our Indian grocery store. So that's half cup of water along with 6 cubes of jaggery, which I'm going to melt and come to a thick consistency. So over to the stove. Okay, let's start our stove. This will melt really fast. If you want to pop this in the microwave, that's also faster. I need that thick consistency. That's what I'm looking for. Usually what I do is I just put a whole packet of jaggery in a saucepan and put 2 cups of water in and melt the jaggery and then store it in the fridge, so that next time when I'm making this, I don't have to wait for this process to be over. Our jaggery has come to a nice consistency. If you pour it, it should come in a 1 string form. That's what we were looking for. If you like the color of your unniappam to be nice dark brown, then reduce this into half the quantity. Let it simmer on the back of your stove, and while you get the rest of the things ready. See that 1 string? That's what we were looking for. Now jaggery is made in stone, so there will be particles from that. So we're going to be having to sift through the strainer. And we're going to let this cool. I'm going to turn it off. Let this cool completely before we add it to our batter. So once this comes to a complete cooled off stage, we are going to strain it through a sieve and keep it aside. When we actually put the batters together, that's when we need this. So we need this to be completely cooled off before we do the next step. Now that it is coming to a cool off, let's strain it through a sieve, making sure there's no other particles in there. You know that this is the right consistency. Look at that string. It's not breaking apart. Perfect. So next thing we're going to do is take a mixing bowl or your grinder and add half of the rice in here without any water, because we are going to let this ferment over time. If we add excess water, then that consistency will be different. Okay, so that's half of that rice, 1 cup. And first I'm going to grind it. So I have grounded my rice and I want to show you before I added any water, the jaggery. This is how it looks like. It's not a fine powder, but yet it has, you can feel the crumbles in here. So this is half portion, the rest of it is in this mixie. So next what we're going to do is pour in our jaggery, all of it, into this mixer, along with one ripe banana. If you want to chop it up, that's fine, or use your hands to make it into small pieces so it's easier to ground. We don't want to add more of the banana because then it tends to drink of all the oil while we are frying this. And back with the rest of the rice flour that we just powdered. Now if you, the quantity that I mentioned, such as 350 grams of jaggery, is the perfect consistency of sugar for me. I don't add any other sugar into this, it's just that. So I'm gonna give this a good whip and then I'll be right back. Alright, so our batter is back into the bowl, and as you can see, this is nice thick consistency. It's not a fine paste, and that's what we were looking for. I haven't added any salt to this yet. Now we're gonna let this ferment for 8 hours. Okay, I have another batter that is ready. I'm gonna keep this aside. After 8 hours, this is what it looks like. Okay, so see, that water content was perfect. Give it a good mix. Right? Now to this batter, we're going to add, this is 1/4 teaspoon of black sesame seed, all of that. And I have dried ginger. This is just a pinch. Now this is optional. If you like it, you can. If you don't, that's also fine. I'll be adding a little bit of salt, just to taste. Perfect. The next thing that we need to do is flavor this batter with a little bit of cardamom. Now, if you add the cardamom just like as is, you will bite into it and you won't feel so, it won't taste right. So what I'm going to do is, this is about 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom, which I'm going to ground it. Okay, all of that goes in. Just crush it. If you have a small jar of your mixie, you can put this in there along with some sugar, the organic sugar or the cane sugar, whatever you choose. And then, but that is going to add more sugar into this batter, and I don't like it like that. That's why I'm doing it separate. That's a nice ground. Let's add that to this mixture. Give it a good mix. Once after you add the salt, the cardamom, and the black sesame seed, it needs to sit for at least 10 minutes. And there's another step that we can do while this is resting. Making sure there's no lumps in there. Okay, perfect. Now let this rest. In the meantime, let's get our coconut shallow fried in some oil. So this is the color that I toasted my coconuts. If you like ghee, please fry this coconut in ghee. Then we're going to add all of this into this mixture. This is one of my kids' favorite snacks. I just shallow fried this coconut in some vegetable oil. Now if you have coconut oil, this will enhance the flavors a little bit more. Okay, so this is actually an Unniappam chatti. So the Unniappam pan. This is where we're going to make all the Unniappams. Now to start that, I poured in a little bit of oil ahead of time so that it coats all interior of that pan. Now you don't want it to cover all of this pan with oil, because once we start pouring batter into each hole, that oil is going to cover into the next hole. So that's why I'm having half of the portion of oil covered and the rest is all empty. So let's let this oil come to the nice hot. Okay, now the pan and oil is nice and hot. You must be wondering how I'm going to take this out. So this is our old skewers, wood skewers. This is easier to take it out and put it on into a strainer. So first off, let's start pouring in our batter. I'm not going to be completely fulfilling this hole. I'm just doing halfway through because it's going to plump up. These guys are ready, so I'm going to take them out, push them out. There you have it. Our easy Unniappams came out really good. They're so soft inside but crunchy outside. It's really good. With this batter, with 2 cups of rice and half cup of jaggery, the melted jaggery and all, you will be able to make about 30 Unniappams. And if you don't have Unniappam pan, that's also fine. Just pour it in a deep fryer and make it into small bowls. You just won't get the shape. That's okay. And the flavors will be good and it's tasty. So do give it a try. Make this for your loved ones. They will love it. My kids enjoy this any time of the day. I mean, I make them, they eat them. So that's how it is. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Curry TV. And I appreciate all your love and support that you have shown us so far. And to those who haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe and hit that bell notification to get all the updates from our team. Thank you so much and we'll see you next time.